Bulldogs breezed past Mountain View 74-62 last night and are looking to do the same tonight. But that won't happen if the Curtis Vikings have their way. Last year they came up short against Mercer Island in the final game and would love to take the championship trophy home tonight. Live from the Seattle Center Coliseum, it's the Garfield Bulldogs against the Curtis Vikings. Brought to you by Rainier Bank. No one knows you, works for you, comes through for you, like a Rainier banker. And now, Como TV Sports Director, Bruce King.
We welcome you to the second half of tonight's big high school doubleheader. As you know, this is the AAA championship game, and what a dream match it is between the #1 team in the state and the #2 team in the state all year long. And working with me in the broadcast booth here at courtside to bring you all the play-by-play action, former head coach of the Huskies and a good friend of mine and a Hall of Famer, Marv Harshman. You enjoy that first game, Marv?
I like any basketball game. You know that, Bruce. I just think high school has got it all as far as I'm concerned, and I never coached in there, but I still think it's America.
Now let's look at these two teams, Garfield against Curtis. Between them, I think they have something like 49 wins and only a loss. Garfield has not lost to a team in this state. Curtis lost their first game. They have won 26 in a row. Now you look at the matchup between the two, a patient team in Curtis, a running team in Garfield. What do you expect to happen out here?
Well, tempo's the answer. If Curtis can get them to play down tempo, I think they have a chance. Although when I watched Garfield play the opening day, you see those big kids on the board, it's going to be a real challenge for Curtis. I think Curtis may have a little edge in the backcourt. I'd give the front line to the Garfield Bulldogs.
Well, you can see the crowd here just a moment ago. A great crowd on hand. Big crowd to watch the championship game tonight. And a very interesting matchup in the fact that Curtis had some problems during the tournament. I mean, they win a couple of games. They win by 10 their opening game over Bethel. They come back. They win by 2 over Mountain View. Now here is Garfield, and they struggle in the first half in 2 games, and all at once they just blow it wide open and win that in the second half and win both ball games running away. Do you expect maybe some of the same here tonight?
Well, I don't really think so. Curtis keeps teams in the game. Their tempo is low. Quite often they play low-scoring scores. It's unusual that they have a big blowout on anybody. So I just think that if they can get Garfield to play their game, and if their players can maintain tempo, then they have a good chance.
Oh, it is the dream matchup, as we mentioned a moment ago. #1 Garfield against #2 Curtis, and we'll be back with a starting lineup and all the action and the play-by-play for you from the Seattle Center Coliseum right after this timeout.
Tonight's championship game is brought to you by Rainier Bank. No one knows you, works for you, comes through for you like a Rainier banker. By the Dairy Farmers of Washington.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Seattle Center Coliseum and this AAA championship between the Garfield Bulldogs and the Curtis Vikings. Here are the non-starting players. First of all, for Garfield, number 13, Bill Elby. Number 15, Jason Jones. Number 23, Rodney Jackson. Number 25, Ishmael Butler. Number 35, Kelly Jefferson. Number 41, Greg Gill. And number 45, Eric Berry. These non-starters for Curtis. Number 10, Jeff Johnson. Number 12, Mike Parker. Number 20, C.J. Davis. Number 30, Kevin Aldridge. Number 42, Joel Emery. Number 44, Scott Talcott. And number 50, David Zerflu. Now, here are the starting lineups for tonight's game. First of all, for the Garfield Bulldogs at a guard, a 5'11 senior, number 11, Mark Phillips. For the Vikings, a 5'11 junior, number 14, Doug Doobie. For the Bulldogs, a 6-foot senior, co-captain, number 21, Craig Murray. For the Vikings, a 6'2 senior, captain number 24, Mike Oslin. And a forward for the Bulldogs, a 6'3" senior, co-captain number 31, Chris Fogerson. For the Vikings, a 6'6" senior, number 22, Jeff Larson. At the other forward for the Bulldogs, a 6'6" senior, number 53, Jason Eichinger. A 6'5" senior, number 32, Spencer Bonter. The starting center for the Bulldogs, a 6'8" junior, number 55, Craig Jordan. And for the Vikings, a 6'6" senior, number 34, Eric Savier. The head coach for the Bulldogs is Al Harrison. The head coach for the Curtis Vikings are Don Houston. His assistants for the Bulldogs are Frank Ahern and Jojo Rodriguez. The assistant for the Vikings is Lindsey Bemis.
Okay, so there you see how the teams ended up in this championship game here, and you saw the starting lineups just a moment ago. And we'll be back with the opening tip-off right after this. Okay, we're going to start right now and get this game underway. Garfield against Curtis coming up right now, and what a ball game it should be. You look at the two coaches. Don Houston, his 8th year, 144 and 43. They lost to Mercer Island 47-28 in the title game last year. Interestingly enough, he's 99 and 9 over the last 4 seasons. Al Harrison is 7th year, 145 wins, 37 losses. And he took a team to the state championship in 1983 when they beat Walla Walla in overtime, 44-42. So here we go. Garfield in the purple against the Curtis Vikings. Curtis, just southwest of Tacoma, is where that school is located, and Garfield, the central area here. The Curtis Vikings, they won the South Puget Sound League, and the Garfield Bulldogs, the Metro League. The officials, Mike Turner and Ron Richardson. Garfield controls the tip, and they'll have a chance to put 2 on the board first. Garfield Bulldogs, good ball club. Murray, an outstanding little guard. He can tear a ball game wide open for you. Number 21. Trying to get the ball down low to Eichinger, but back out in front. They bring it right back to Phillips again. Mark Phillips over to Murray.
A little surprised that Austin isn't on Murray instead of Doobie.
Fogerson fighting for the basketball. Garfield comes up with it. Phillips, jumper from the side. 2-0 in favor of Garfield. The Bulldogs on the scoreboard first. Interesting matchups as you see here. Garfield's going to pick them up in backcourt. A little pressure. Not hard, a little soft, but they'll pick them up there most of the night. Larson with the ball. Out in front to Oslin. 4 starters off this Curtis team. Played in the championship game last year are back. 5 starters off a Garfield team that was eliminated in the opening round. They're back.
Tempo's still the answer for Curtis. They can't get, even if they go down 6, they've got to play at their own speed, their own rhythm.
Man-to-man defense for Garfield, and Curtis will take their time. Mike Oslin out in front. He's a senior, 6'2", 190. Whistle blows. And I think out in front of the court, Doobie and Phillips ran into one another. Double foul call against the two. So away from the ball, Doobie and Phillips have a foul called against him. First foul on both teams. No shooting foul, and the ball will go out of bounds to Curtis because they have the basketball. Larson will take it out across the way. Just underway, 6:43 to play here in the first quarter. 2-0 in favor of Garfield.
They got the ball, Bruce, because it was their turn on the turnover. Now, that really hurts Curtis. Curtis pays a greater penalty because the next held ball, it goes to Garfield.
Whistle underneath again. Foul whistle on Phillips, trying to stay with Doobie. And he picks up his second foul just like that. So Garfield with 2 quick fouls on Mark Phillips, the senior guard. Outstanding track athlete. Oslin with the basketball. This will be a slow-down game. Doobie swings it out to the right side. Spencer Bonner, outstanding player. Back in front to Larson. Only 2 points last night. Ball blocked by Fogerson and picked out of there by Jordan. Murray with the basketball for the Garfield Bulldogs. Last state title, 1983. Fogerson with the ball back in front to Murray. Man-to-man defense inside. Eichinger scores.
And I'm afraid that might be the story of the game. They've just got to get backside help if they're going to front him.
4-0 in favor of Garfield. Game just underway. 5:51 to play here in the first quarter. Seattle Center Coliseum. AAA championship game. Larson on the wing on the far side. Out in front to Doobie. Larson almost travels. Good block underneath by Jordan. Looked like it might have gotten the arm. Out in front to Eichinger, and here Murray brings it across the timeline. 4-0. Garfield in front. We're in the first quarter. State A AAA championship game. Eichinger working on Oslin. Back to Phillips. That's 2. 6-0 Garfield. Bulldogs lead, and their fans love it. Larson slowly out of backcourt with the ball. Being picked up by the 2 guards. Swing underneath to Oslin. Stop, puts it off the glass and in. Oslin was a good shooter.
He challenged the big kid pretty well.
Had 12 points against Farris and 10 against Cascade, an all-state player, all-league 2 years in a row in that South Puget Sound League. 6-2 Garfield. Whistle underneath. Foul's going to be called this time on Doobie, trying to stop Phillips. So the 2 of them have a foul against him. So 2 fouls now against Larson and 2 against Doobie. And Doobie goes to the sideline, and they make the change now for the Curtis Vikings with Kevin Aldridge coming in. 6-foot junior. He really hadn't played that much, averaging just over 3 points a game this year. Hasn't scored in the tournament. Fogerson with the basketball. Front to Jordan. Jordan will move away from the basket a lot. Man-to-man defense for Curtis. Garfield leading 6-2. Phillips, he loves to shoot it. Had 22 last night in their win. Murray. Beside Eichinger, it's good. 8-2 in favor of Garfield.
Pretty good middle range shooter. They put so much pressure on you because of the size inside, and so you have to give up something. You usually give up the outside shot.
Larson gets the ball to Sabier, and then back out in front it comes to Oslin. Sabier, he's played very well in the tournament. Cross court. Ball away, no good. Good defense there. Scramble for the basketball, and Garfield will come up with it almost out of bounds. Aldridge intercepts the ball, and Curtis will put it back into play across the way. Houston on his feet, telling his team to just move it and move it and move it and take their time against this man-to-man defense of the Garfield Bulldogs. Spencer Bonner is hit across the arm.
They called a foul that time, but see, that's a poor feed because he's throwing it high where the big guy can go over the top. He's got to spread out and get the ball maybe in on the bounce pass.
And there is timeout on the court here at the Coliseum, and we'll be back with more of the AAA championship game with Garfield leading 8-2.
Now
They love it here in the Coliseum in Seattle. AAA championship game. Stay tuned at the halftime for the presentation of the Ducks Academic All-Star Award, where the boys and girls basketball teams from Castle Rock High School will be honored for their academic excellence. First quarter shooting statistics. You can see right there, Curtis 3 of 7 and Garfield 6 of 11 so far in the ball game. 42% for Curtis and 54% for Garfield. Garfield leads at 12-6, low-scoring game. We expected a low-scoring game. Garfield will put it in play just in front of us. And kind of ball game you expected?
I think so, and really it's the kind of ball game that Curtis would hope for. I think they're 6 down, but you know, could be 16 playing the other way.
Gill with the ball on the left wing. Back in front to Phillips. Ball stolen away by Spencer Bonner. Make that Osland. Garfield comes back, double dribble. Osland lost the basketball after he had a chance. He was going to drive with it and then looked across the lane and there was no one there.
He thought he saw a play coming up and he tried to make a recovery when it wasn't there and just lost control.
Garfield 12, Curtis 6, second quarter. State AAA championship game from Seattle. Murray back in front to Gill. Ball almost knocked away. That's to Jordan. Jordan back to Phillips. Mark Phillips. Bogerson. He's their leading scorer. Ball knocked out of bounds. It'll be out of bounds off the hand of Larson, and Garfield will put it in play. No, I'm wrong.
No, that was the right call. I thought the other
official called it that way, but they changed it. The officials, Mike Turner and Ron Richardson. So Curtis now, chance to cut that lead down to only 4. Gill gets the foul on them trying to check Spencer Bonner, and he picks up his second foul.
See, they have a guy that Bonner can handle now. They got a sub in there on him, and they're going to him. They're isolating him, and a good move by Houston, getting the ball inside.
Spencer Bonner going back to the line again. He missed a moment ago. 2 points so far in the ball game. 0 for 1 at the line. As we said, only 61% shooter from the line, but 59 from the field. He gets the first one. I think he's as happy as anyone just to get the ball in the basket.
Amen.
Bonner is an outstanding student. 3-9 student. Second shot good. They cut that lead now to 4. The Garfield lead to 4. It is 12-8 in favor of the Bulldogs. Second quarter, 6:55 to play here at the Coliseum. Murray being checked closely by Osland. Throws the ball away off of the knee of Gill.
They may have to get the big kid back in there.
Now the guy they have on the bench right now is Eichinger, and he has a couple of fouls on him. Osland down low. Bobbier doesn't take the shot. Worried about Jordan. Outside shot in and out, no good. Jordan with the rebound. Murray for Garfield across the timeline.
I don't think Curtis can win with outside shooting. Just have a little more patience that time.
Foul called this time. 5 seconds with the basketball, and he couldn't give up the basketball within 5 seconds, so they said you had possession of it, and it's going to go to Curtis. Pretty good call?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't counting, but it seemed like he was under guard.
To the right side, to Aldridge. Spencer Bonner, off the rim, no good. Bonner trying to get it back up there again. Knocked down by Gill, no foul call. Murray comes out of there with the ball. This time it is tipped away by Spencer Bonner, and it's off the hand of Gill. You're looking at Don Houston. Incidentally, his 2 young daughters, they're in the 3rd and 5th grade, are on the rally squad at Curtis High School. Houston in his 8th year, 99-9 over the last 4 years. 26 in a row his basketball team's won.
Great record. You know, the pressure Curtis has put on in this last 2-3 minutes has really bothered Garfield.
That was Kevin Aldridge. 12-10. Garfield leads by only 2. They led by 6 at the end of the first quarter. 5:31 to play here in the second quarter. Championship game. Murray with Oslin on him. Right-hand shot will not go. Sabier picks up the foul going over the back of Jordan.
Somebody that's been quiet so far, really, that surprises me is Fogerson, because I think he's the secret to Garfield winning. He has to take over and make things happen for that team.
Well, he's averaging 15 points a game. The 11 in the first game and then 10 in the second here in the tournament, 15 for the season. Stolen, Spencer Bonner. Gills on him, cuts him off. Austin drives to the hoop. Foul is going to be called against Phillips, Mark Phillips. And Phillips picks up his third foul. So Phillips will go to the sideline, and Ishmael Butler will come in to replace him, the 5'11 junior. So 3 fouls now on Phillips, and a couple of fouls on Eichinger. And Garfield's having some problems here in the second quarter, because they get those big guys, they get the starting guards in foul trouble, and they, Curtis is a good ball club, and they'd have problems trying to stop them. Oslin's shot is good.
And the defense has caused it all. The steal, but more importantly, the defense has shut off the inside game for Garfield.
Oslin, 3 points in a ball game so far. He's 3 of 3 from the foul line in the tournament, make it 4-4. It is tied at 12. Garfield 12 and the Curtis Vikings 12. Fogerson is the guy you said has to do it, and he gets 2 there.
Yeah. See, he makes
Fogerson
things happen.
now 4 points in the game.
He makes things happen, I think.
14-12. Garfield over Curtis. Mike Oslin, the quarterback of this team. Larson.
Tit for tat.
14-14 tie. Those are the Curtis fans, and they're on their feet here. Great crowd on hand for this game. Eichinger gets up off the bench. He's coming back. Fogerson shot. Foul underneath, and a foul, I believe, is going to be on Gill. We'll see. And if it is, that's going to be 3 on Gill.
Gill has had a few problems since he's been in there, and it's tough for a young man to come off the bench and replace one of the starting stars. And, you know, it's a championship game, and he's really a little nervous, I think.
But Jordan goes to the sideline as Larson goes to the line. 57% shooter. 3 of 4 from the free throw line in the tournament so far. This one won't drop. Murray with the basketball. Eichinger back in there for Garfield. Butler deep in the corner. He looks down low, but nothing there. Fogerson to Butler. Back in front to Murray. Good man-to-man defense by Curtis. Traveling is going to be called.
See, they made the change in this quarter. Oslin has taken Murray man-to-man.
You look at it to Garfield coach Al Harrison. His team is tied with Curtis at 14-14.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
You tell me state high school championship basketball isn't fun. Look at this. Oh, they're having a great time here. Those were the Curtis fans. Their team tied with Garfield at 14-14. You see the steals there and the turnovers. Garfield's had 9 turnovers so far. Tonight's broadcast, a production of KOMO TV and Campbell Sports, under the broadcast rights granted by the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without express written consent of the WIAA is prohibited. 14-14 tie. Down low. I think he travels.
Yeah, he took that little pro hop in there. Had him cut off, all he had to do is drop the ball on the floor. A guy was wide open on the other side of the court, of the lane.
Eric Sabier, as we'd mentioned, has had 13 and 14 points in the first 2 games. Turns the ball over there. Garfield with the basketball. Gill on the wing on the right side, back out in front. Sabier's all over him. Eichinger. Murray can't get it to drop. He was cold last night.
He's got to be hitting, because that takes the pressure off the inside game.
Halftime score in a girls' AA game, as you see. Colville over Hanford, 24-23. That's going on at the arena. 16-14 in favor of Curtis here. Curtis's first lead in the ball game. Foul's going to be called away from the ball.
John Bonter.
And that's going to be the fourth team foul against Curtis so far. So Garfield will get the ball out of bounds. Foul was on Aldridge. Jordan back in the ball game. Gill goes to the sideline with 3 fouls. Lindsey Bemis is Don Houston's assistant, sitting next to him there at Curtis High School, the Curtis Vikings. 26-1, 26 in a row. Eichinger, Jordan. Larson is the man who knocks it out of bounds for Curtis.
I think Curtis likes to have Jordan move out and handle the ball. He's not so sure as a passer.
Murray with the basketball now for the Garfield Bulldogs. They trail by 2. We've got 2:35 to play here in the second quarter. Ismail Butler. Checked by Larson. Back in front to Jordan. Ball stolen by Spencer Bonner. They'll go to the hoop over. Jordan up and in. Great move by Spencer Bonner. It's 18-14, a 4-point lead for Curtis. They trailed by 6 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter has been all Curtis. Garfield scored only 2 points so far. Ball almost stolen again. Butler the shot. He gets this one to drop.
I tell you, the steals have been the difference.
Those are his first 2 points in the state tournament. Spencer Bonner, 8 points so far in the ball game, and they said he had to score for them to play well. Larson has it knocked away. Garfield turns it over, and Curtis will have the basketball. So with 1:37 to play here in the second quarter, 18-16 in favor of Curtis. We welcome you back to the Coliseum. Curtis against Garfield. State Boys AAA Championships. Congratulations to the boys and girls teams who won the State A basketball titles last week in the Tacoma Dome. Boys title captured by the Kashmir Bulldogs who defeated Linden. Cluster girls finished their season undefeated with a win over Ephrata for the girls title. You see the scores up there just a moment ago. Curtis has outscored Garfield 12-2 here in the second quarter. Mike Oslin with the basketball, almost knocked away. Spencer Bonner, 8 points in the game so far, 6 here in this quarter. He has been the spark plug. Larson. Bonner for the hoop, knocked away by Jordan. Oh, what a defensive play. 1:16 to play in the second quarter. 18-16 in favor of the Curtis Vikings. Down low to Larson. Knocked away again by Jordan. Eichinger goes high. Outlet pass to Murray. Murray trying to run. Whistle blows. Basket will not count. Foul's going to be called on Kevin Aldridge. And that's the 15th foul against Curtis. So Murray will go to the line now for the Garfield Bulldogs, and he has a chance to tie it.
The big kid came alive on the defensive end a little bit, but they've got to start baiting him with the fake now. Get him up in the air and step underneath, I think.
Craig Murray averaging 12 points a game this season, high 23. That was against Bethel.
He's a good shooter.
All-State second team, all-Metro performer. And Murray ties it at 18. It's Curtis 18 and Garfield 18. Aldridge coming off the bench has played very well now.
Yes,
for
he
Curtis,
has.
number 30. Oslin, Mike Oslin out in front. Larson back in front to Aldridge. Oslin to Bonner. 36 seconds to go. They'll go for one shot, don't you think, Hart?
It looks like it. Looks like they just as soon be the last shooter. And I think that's a pretty wise decision when you look at the physical matchups.
Murray almost got a hand on it a moment ago. 20 seconds to go. We're down to 11 now. Bonner. Goes to the center, who travels with the basketball with 8 seconds to go. Sabier travels with the ball. And Garfield gets a chance.
He's not had a good night, you know, and they need him. He's played so well in the other 2 games.
Murray, jumper. It is 20-18 Garfield, and Murray gets the jumper to drop at the buzzer, and Garfield leads at halftime by a score of 20-18. This, the boys' AAA high school championship basketball game. It's been a good game so far, and it's been a very low-scoring game so far.
Yep, the mistakes is on both sides.
No question about that, and the team that's leading, Garfield, by a score of 20-18 over the Curtis Vikings.
Special presentation and direct your attention to the center of the court. For the past 3 years.
Okay, and now let's go to Rick Meter, who is at the end zone right now, down at the end of the court, I should say, with a guy who has to be happy because his team's ahead, okay?
Thank you, Bruce. Rick Meter courtside with Al Hairston, coach of the Bulldogs. You got a big lead early, and maybe Curtis just a little slow getting started. It's going to be a ball game, looks like.
It looks like that to me. They turned the pressure up pretty good, in the middle of the second quarter, and started denying the passing lanes. And we didn't meet their pressure with pressure, and that was the difference in that quarter there.
What do you look for second half? You got a couple of guys with some maybe some foul problems. You got to keep them in the game. Big guy Eichinger and Mark Phillips.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to play through those. It's the last game of the season, and we just have to. We play 12 people. We'll play 12.
Whatever it takes, right? Look for a good ball game, maybe right down to the wire.
I don't know if we come out and play. If we meet their pressure with pressure, the way they're doing, I think we can get the game back under control.
You said before the game you thought quickness might be the difference. Any change of mind on that?
They look pretty quick to me. They're just playing a little bit tougher than we are right now, and we'll get that worked out in the locker room. Come back and try to play a little bit more aggressively, and hopefully things will fall in place.
All right, thank you, Al. Good luck in the second half. Al Hairston, head coach of the Garfield Bulldogs, a 2-point lead here at halftime of the AAA Boys Championship game. We'll be back after this break. Let's find out some more about Garfield. For those who don't know, where is it? Who goes there? What's it all about?
Garfield is a school located in the central part of the city of Seattle on 24th and Alder, with an enrollment of approximately 1,600 and an ethnic breakdown of 52% white, about 40% black, and about 4 or 5% Asian, and the rest is other scattering of others. Most people always recognize Garfield as an academic, athletic power, but Garfield has a pretty balanced program in athletics, music, and also academics. For example, this past year we had 16 National Merit Scholars that made it that are finalists, and we're expecting the same next year, at least 16 to 20. Some of our strong suits is Garfield in the academic areas, the area of math and science, where we excel quite highly and kids will score exceptionally well. Approximately 30 or 40% of the students at Garfield will score in the upper 3 stay nines on any standardized test, which I think is remarkable well, and approximately 10% will score in the lower 3 stay nines. Academically, we are very sound. Athletically, we are very sound. And in the area of music, we are very sound.
So a strong, balanced program and a commitment on the part of the administration and the faculty to maintain that kind of balance.
I think the thing that made Garfield so great and made it so balanced is the commitment on the part of the students and the staff, and really the community have always been a great supporter of the school. And it has had its ups and downs, but at the present time we're rolling pretty good, and I think we will continue that over the span of the next few years.
All right, thank you, Eamon McWashington, and again, congratulations on a fine basketball team, and we look for the Bulldogs to come back out in the second half and build on that 2-point lead. Maybe, maybe not. Curtis wants to win it too. Bruce, back to you.
Thank you, Rick. Garfield leading Curtis 20-18.
Through for you like a Rainier Banker. And by the Dairy Farmers of Washington. Be good to your bones. Drink milk.
We welcome you back to the Coliseum in Seattle. 20-18, Garfield ahead of Curtis. It is halftime. Do athletics and academics go well together? Chuck's Auto Supply thinks they do. Harry Sloan reports. We'll get back to that for you in just a moment and tell you about the winners of those awards in just a moment. We want to tell you right now that Curtis coming back on the court. Garfield is out there shooting. And Oslin now with 4, Larson with 4, Bonner with 8, 6 in the second quarter. Sabiez hasn't scored as well as yet. Aldridge with 2 so far in the ball game for Curtis. And for Garfield, Eichinger leading with 6, but he got them all in the first quarter. And Fogerson with 4, Murray with 4, and Phillips with 4. Butler gets 2. But here's the story, right, Marv?
The fouls, I think, could well tell the story later on. Phillips with 3 for Garfield, Eichinger with 2, and Gill, who came in for Eichinger, with 3. Whereas no one has, well, Doobie has 2, and there are 3 other people that have 1.
And Doobie got those 2 early in the ball game, and Aldridge has been in for him. So Doobie saw very little action in the first half. So interesting basketball game so far. Low scoring as we expected. Very tight ball game. I think some people felt that maybe the speed of Garfield might be able to run away from a Curtis, but this Curtis basketball team is a veteran team. 4 starters back from last year. Mike Batts is the only guy who isn't here. He's playing football at Washington. And Garfield, although they have all 5 starters back from last year, that's a ball club that lost in the opening round, eliminated from the tournament last year. Now, these kids I know, ranked #1 in the state, haven't lost to a team outside of the state of Washington. They lost 3 games to teams in national tournaments, to Santa Monica, California, Wilson Heights, and to Flint Hill, Virginia. #1 in the country. They lost that game 62-56. They're an outstanding basketball team. Now, they've been able to blow people away in the second half, so it'll be interesting to see what Curtis can do here in the second half.
That's true, and I'll be surprised if they let him get out on him.
Okay, let's get back to something I mentioned just a moment ago. Do athletics and academics go well together? Chuck's Auto Supply thinks they do. Harry Sloan has this story. Now listen.
At a ball game.
Yes, we were concerned. We didn't get the ball down early, but our kids didn't panic, and we're right in there. We feel we should be tied. We gave up a basket right at the end. Other than that, we're playing right even with them. We're pleased so far.
Okay, Garfield is a team that's come on in the second half in a lot of ball games. You've got to be concerned about that.
That's right. We just mentioned that to our players. Garfield's been in this situation lots of times, and it's only halftime. We're going to have to go out and play better and shoot better than we did the first half.
All right, thank you, Don. Good luck to you and the Vikings in the second half.
Thank you.
Don Houston, head coach of the Curtis Vikings. They trail it by 2, but I got a feeling we're going to have quite a finish here at the Coliseum. We'll be back after this message.
Coverage of the state AAA championship basketball game right here on Como TV4. We get set now to start the second half. I'm Bruce King along with Marv Harshman, the former Husky coach and the Hall of Fame basketball coach. What do you think now, 2018? Do you think Garfield can come back and break this thing open here in the second half?
Well, I'll be surprised if they, run away with it, but I think I still have to have them as the favorite. They just have an awful lot of ways to beat you.
I see Larson's in the ball game now, and Doobie is back in. They got the regular starting lineup. Spencer Bonner, big second quarter, 8 points, leading scorer in the ball game for them. Mike Oslin also, so it's Larson, Bonner, Sabier, Oslin, and Doobie in the ball game. And for Garfield, you're looking at Fogerson, Phillips, Murray, the regular starting lineup, Eichinger, and Jordan. 20-18, Garfield on top of Curtis. We start the third quarter. Doobie and Phillips went at it pretty good early in the ball game, down low. Garfield controls, and a foul's going to be called. Is it going to be on Doobie? No, it's going to be on Phillips. Mark Phillips of Garfield picks up the foul, and for Phillips, that's his 4th foul of the ball game.
We may get a replay. If we do, I think you'll see it's right at the start.
Phillips with 4 and Gill with 3 for Garfield, as you see. So Phillips goes to the sideline, and Ismail Butler comes in to replace him.
And he did a good job when he came in the first half.
20-18, Curtis trailing Garfield by 2. Oslin. Fogerson, the rebound. Outlet pass to Murray. Murray will shoot it from there. Good follow.
No cutout.
Murray with the follow. It's 22-18, and Murray picks up 2 more points in the ball game. He has 6 so far. Oslin calling signals. They say he's the quarterback of this basketball team. Larson, 4 points so far in the ball game. He's been a big scorer for them all year long, but Garfield's been able to cut him down, but not this guy. Larson, ball tipped away by Fogerson.
Got to make those.
Doobie can't get it to drop, and here comes Murray on the break. Lead to Fogerson. Sabier is the guy who knocked it away. Sabier. So 6:45 to play here in the third quarter, and Garfield leads it 22-18 over the Curtis Vikings. And we'll be back and have more of this championship game between Garfield and Curtis. This for the State Boys AAA title, live from Seattle, Washington.
Right now, you could choose from over 10 different types of...
This basketball tournament marks the end of the winter sports season for Washington State high schools. Spring is less than 2 weeks away, and time for track and baseball. The WIAA invites you to the state baseball championships May 31st, the state track finals May 30th and 31st in Tacoma for AA and AAA schools, and in Wenatchee for A and B schools. 6:45 to play, third quarter. Garfield 22, Curtis 18. That's Craig Murray. Interesting about Murray and Phillips, they took their SAT test at the University of Washington this morning. A couple of guys who had to spend a couple of hours taking a test this morning preparing for a game. Murray can't get it to drop. Foul's going to be called, I believe, on Eichinger under the basket. And if that foul's on Eichinger, that's going to be his third. And that's a second team foul against the Bulldogs here in the second half. Eichinger with 3. Phillips with 4. Long pass to Oslin. But you're not going to shoot it over Jordan. Spencer Bonner, ball above his head. Larson. Great block by Fogerson. Can he get it again? Goaltending called on Jordan.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good choice, but kids get excited in those situations.
Chance to see it again. Now here's Larson with the ball. Now Fogerson will get a hand on it, but here comes Jordan just above the rim. 22-20, 2-point Garfield lead. 6:08 to play, third quarter, down low. Eichinger rattles and will not go. Rebound by Oslin. Curtis has a chance to tie it now. They trail by 2.
Their chance is patience. They can't get in a hurry.
Aldridge in the ball game for Doobie. Larson now. Down low. Good shot by Oslin on the drive of the baseline.
Very smart move. He used the rim to protect so Jordan couldn't get to the ball.
It is tied at 22-all. Murray almost loses the basketball. Back out in front to Ismail Butler. He's in for Mark Phillips, who has 4 fouls on him. Being checked by Aldridge. Ball thrown away and right it up. I got a basketball right under it. The ball is going to be out of bounds to Curtis. We can find the basketball. You can see us right here, and the ball down at our feet. So Larson will take it out of bounds. It's tied 22-all. Garfield against the Curtis Vikings state AAA championship game. Aldridge out of the backcourt being checked by Ismail Butler.
I'm expecting Curtis, as they get a little tighter, to go to the backdoor action like they do very well. That's why they're in that 2-3 set. They get overplayed. There's the back cut, but he didn't look at him.
Off the hands of Larson and out of bounds. As Houston And Lindsey Bemis, the assistant coach. Houston on the left. 99-9 coming into this ball game. Lost to Mercer Island 47-28 last year. They consider Curtis to be the best defensive team in the tournament.
I think that's
Murray with the ball with 4:34 to play in the third quarter. Murray off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Xavier. Curtis with a chance to take the lead. Turnovers, 12 for Garfield in the game so far. Larson, long shot, misses everything. An air ball.
too hungry.
Butler to Murray, may throw it away. Ball doesn't go out of bounds. That's Fogerson. Picks the ball off, back out in front to Jordan, and Murray will set it up. Fogerson working on Larson. Larson knocks it away, but he picks up the foul. He got him with the body as he went across the lane.
I think rather than going out and checking him outside, they got to stay back in and help on Fogerson. He's going to take over.
Doobie comes back in the ball game, and Doobie is going to be in for Larson. Well, they put a smaller team out there now because Larson going out of the ball game at 6'6", and Doobie coming in at 5'11".
It's going to make Fogerson have a real advantage.
A three-guard offense. Fogerson at the line for Garfield. First shot is good. His first free throw of the ball game and his fifth point. 23-22 in favor of the Garfield Bulldogs. 4 minutes exactly to play in the third quarter. Second shot drops and gives him a 2-point lead. So Aldridge takes the ball inbounds. Full court pressure now by Garfield. Doobie out of backcourt, breaks it.
He walked.
Spencer Bonner trying to get away from Jordan, travels.
All he had to do is catch the ball and shoot it, but he wanted to take it to the hole.
24-22 in favor of Garfield with 3:49 to play here in the third quarter. State Boys AAA Championship basketball game. Olympia won the AA title earlier this evening. Good shot by Fogerson.
I don't think they can leave Larson out of there. The mismatch is too tough.
8 points in a ball game for Fogerson so far. They break the pressure, get it across the timeline, and Oslin with Murray on him. Doobie down low. Spencer Bonner. Good shot off the glass. And Bonner cuts that lead to only 2, 26-24 in favor of Garfield. 3:10 to play here in the third quarter. Butler on the wing on the left. Looking back out in front to Jordan. Tallest guy on the floor at 6'8". Whistle underneath, and foul is going to be called on Eichinger. The 6'6" Eichinger gets a foul.
I think they called it on the little guard, Butler. I think. I'm not sure.
Now Eichinger slaps his hands, and we'll see here in just a moment. Gill comes in. Eichinger goes to the sideline.
You're right, Bruce. You're right.
So Eichinger picks up his fourth foul of the ball game. Now they have two starters in Phillips and Eichinger on the bench with 4 fouls apiece. Garfield leads 26-24 by 2. Doobie. Boy, Butler almost gets him there. Oslin back out in front with Murray checking him. Doobie gets it to Larson. Larson back in the ball game. Down low. Oslin open. Can't get it to drop. Fight for the rebound, and Larson controls. Curtis with the ball. Bonner, incidentally, is the game-high score now with 10. Bonner again. Can he get 2 more? No, off the side of the glass and partially blocked. Murray has the ball stripped by Oslin. A 2-on-1 break. Bonner off the glass and will not go. But check the foul. The foul on Gill was an offensive foul. Offensive foul against Spencer Bonner. So Bonner gets the foul called against him. That's going to be his second foul in the game. And oh, what a golden opportunity to tie it at 26. Garfield 26, Curtis 24, 2:21 to go here in the third quarter. Ismail Butler checked by Doobie. That's Murray with the basketball now. Fogerson, good drive. And Fogerson begin to take charge in the ball game. That's 10 points for him. He ties Bonner for game-high honors with 10. Larson, Oslin. And the counter to Spencer Bonner. 4 starters back from the championship team, or the team that played in the championship game last year. Larson down low. Sabier turns, and a foul's going to be called on Jordan, I believe. Jordan saying, not me. So Jordan picks up the foul. That's the 4th team foul against Garfield. Here it is again. Now watch. Oslin with the basketball. Jordan so far in the ball game with only that's his first foul. That surprised me. His first foul of the game. Larson shot no good. Rebound, fight for it, up. Foul called on Jordan again. Picks up another foul. 2 quick ones.
Larson's having a little problem shooting the ball.
15 foul, shooting foul, and he'll go to the line. So now, there's some people getting really in foul trouble for Garfield, and 1:33 to play in the 3rd quarter, and his team up by 4 at 28-24 in favor of Garfield. Larson will go to the line. He can cut it to 2. Greg Gill, his 4th foul of the game. And in to replace him is Kelly Jefferson. He is the junior forward. So Larson will shoot 2. Larson now 1 for 2 at the line. 7 points in the game. Jordan the rebound. 28-25. 3-point Garfield lead. 2 Garfield players with 4. 3 Garfield players now with 4 fouls in the ball game. 2 of them starters.
That's going to make a big difference.
Kelly Jefferson has the ball stripped away by Oslin. 1:13 to play, 3rd quarter, and Curtis trailing by 3. They look down low, get it there. Sabier, Larson from the corner, won't go. Spencer Bonner the free throw, and a foul's going to be called against Kelly Jefferson. So Jefferson picks up his first foul of the ball game.
When Eichinger is out of there, it really makes a difference in Garfield's board play. Curtis has got a number of second efforts because of that.
Spencer Bonner at the line. Bonner so far in the ball game is 2 of 3. This time foul's going to be called underneath, and it's going to be on Larson. So the free throw no good, and Larson picks up the foul. And that's the second foul on Larson in the ball game.
Curtis has not been very good on the line tonight.
No, they haven't.
And it's amazing. Larson, he's a great outside shooter, is having a terrible time on the line.
3 team fouls against Curtis. Garfield has the maximum 5. Ismail Butler out of the backcourt for the Bulldogs with 53 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Double team. Fogerson. And Fogerson picks up his 12th point of the ball game. Fogerson, leading scorer of the ball game with 12. Averages 16. Long lead pass. Spencer Bonner working against Jordan. Double team. Gets the ball out to Doobie. Back in front to Larson. This time the ball drops. So Larson scores. And for Larson, that's 9 points in the game. 30-27. 3-point Garfield lead. 24 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Down to 1 final shot. Murray to Butler. Twelve seconds, 10. They've got to get something going on. Kelly Jefferson on the right side. Ball above his head. Murray's going to have to take the shot with 5 seconds to go. No, Jefferson drives baseline, puts it up, and blocking foul is going to be called on Larson. Larson trying to cut off the baseline from Kelly Jefferson. Gets the foul called on him. Here's a shot of it again, so you can see what happened down on the baseline. And for Larson, that's 3 fouls. Boy, I don't know, Harsh. That was close, wasn't it?
Well, he was there. I don't know what the angle was, but it looked to me like he had his foot set.
They say Kelly Jefferson was shooting on the play, and he'll go to the line for 2. Chance to increase that Garfield lead to 5 with only 3 seconds left here at the end of the 3rd quarter. Jefferson's first free throw is good for Kelly Jefferson. That's only his second point of the tournament. He's now 2 of 3 in the tournament from the free throw line. Only averaged a little over 3 points a game during the season. Second shot is also good. Gives Garfield a 5-point lead. Oslin, long shot partially blocked by Fogerson. So with 1 quarter to go, State AAA high school championship game. It is Garfield 32 and Curtis 27. And we'll be back for the final 8 minutes of action of high school basketball in this state right after this timeout. Curtis 11 of 13 from the field, and Garfield 12 of 26. One more free throw. Rebounds just about even, but turnovers, Garfield has 14, as you see, and Curtis 8.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a barn burner. That was the last big play, that 2-shot foul. It changed the game quite a bit. 5 points is a big lead in this game.
We come down to the final 8 minutes. Fogerson, the leading scorer for Garfield, with 12. Eichinger on the bench with 6. Murray with 6. And Phillips with 4. Bonner with 10. Only 2 in that quarter, at 8 at halftime. And Larson with 9, the leading scorers for Curtis. Garfield leading by 5. Fogerson. Kelly Jefferson. Murray. This will not drop. Still underneath, and foul's going to be called on Spencer Bonner on the rebound. And Fogerson will shoot 1 and 1. Could be the 5th team foul. I think he'll be shooting 1 and 1. So the foul now on Spencer Bonner as he picks up his 3rd foul in the ball game. And it's Kelly Jefferson instead of Fogerson going to the line. Jefferson was there just a moment ago, 2 of 2. Kelly Jefferson, you see the black patch. Kelly Jefferson's grandmother, big fan of Garfield, passed away last week. The team said, "We're going to dedicate this championship to you." And we'll wear the black patches in your memory. Jefferson 3 of 3 at the free throw line. 3 points, 4 points in the tournament so far, 3 in this ball game. He gives him a 33-27 lead, biggest leader. Well, matches the biggest lead of the ball game. They led 12-6 early. Now gives him the biggest lead of the game.
I'll say something. He may not have played too much in the games, but he should have been practicing his free throws.
He is 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And now has turned it into a 7-point Garfield lead. Doobie. Oslin with the ball. Over to Larson. Larson with 9 points. Doobie. Oslin. Spencer Bonner gets called for the foul on pushing off on Kelly Jefferson.
The guy's holding him from around.
Spencer Bonner picks up now his 4th foul of the ball game. And Kelly Jefferson, who is perfect at the line, 4 for 4, goes back, had a chance to do it again. You talk about a hero in a basketball game. This young man coming off the bench just may be the guy to do it.
That's right. He's got him the last 4 points.
So with 7:23 to play here in the 3rd quarter, in the 4th quarter, it is 34-27 in favor of Garfield.
Tonight's championship game is brought to you by Rainier Bank. No one knows you, works for you, comes through for you like a Rainier banker. And by the Dairy Farmers of Washington. Be good to your bones. Drink milk.
.7:23 to play in the 4th quarter. Garfield 34, Curtis 27. Interesting. Eric Sabier, who has scored 13 and 14 the first 2 games against Cascade and Ferris, scoreless tonight. He has not scored a point. And at the line right now will be Kelly Jefferson. Jefferson, the junior forward, as Garfield has 3 guys on the bench right now with 4 fouls apiece, and Phillips, Eichinger, and Gill. Phillips and Eichinger are starters. 4 fouls. Spencer Bonner goes to the sideline right now as they make a change. Aldrich comes in for him.
Jefferson's done his share.
As you said, Harsh, he knows how to shoot free throws. He is perfect from the line. He is 5 for 5 from the line right now. 5 points in the game. He'd only scored a point against Mountain View in a free throw last night. He was 1 of 2 there. Can he make another one? He's perfect. 6 for 6. 36-27. Those 6 points become very important. Biggest lead of the game, 9. Larson out of backcourt. Osborne, cross court to Doobie. Osborne underneath and tipped out of bounds off the hand of Kelly Jefferson. They're trying to run a little back door there down to Aldridge, and the ball was knocked out of bounds. So they need points in a hurry, and they can't take the time that they like to take. 36.
They can change their game.
36-27. Garfield on top by 9. Larson won't go. Garfield the rebound. Butler working against Doobie. Stolen by Ostlund and off his hands and out of bounds. Oh, and a grimace on his face as he runs right by us. So Garfield will get the ball inbound. 6:54 to play in the basketball game. They lead it by 9, 36-27. Garfield 10 of 10 from the line. Butler gets it to Murray. Working against Osborne. Down low. Fogerson spins it off the glass and in. Chris Fogerson, 14 points in the game so far. We mentioned 10 of 10 for Garfield from the line. Curtis 5 of 9. 38-27. 11-point Garfield lead. Larson almost travels. Ostlund shot. He buries it from 15 feet.
They've got to get someone else on Fogerson. They can't check him with a guard, I don't think.
38-29. Traveling is going to be called against Murray of Garfield. 6:16 to play in the basketball game. Garfield 38 and Curtis 29. Full court pressure by Garfield to Larson. Larson working against Jefferson. Fogerson almost knocks it away. Now to Ostlund just in front of us. They'll set it up quickly. Larson down low to Ostlund. He knocks the big guy out of the way, and going to be an offensive foul as he runs headlong into Jordan under the basket. Offensive foul called against Ostlund, and Oslund's going to pick up his second foul of the ball game.
Well, I don't know.
That's an either-or foul,
Yeah.
I think. It was very, very close. Garfield leading by 9, 38-29. 5:57 to go in the ball game. Murray tries to drive, ball knocked away, traveling call before he loses the basketball. Now Murray a couple of times has tried to come by and drive down the lane, and has been called for traveling twice.
He's trying to make too many plays on his own, I think. If they just would spread the court and make Curtis come to him, they can control the ball game.
Spencer Bonner back in the ball game now for Aldridge. Garfield 16 turnovers to 9 for Curtis. Bonner, he'll shoot it from the outside. Off the glass too hard.
That's not his game.
Kelly
outside
Jefferson.
shooting.
Butler. Ismail Butler with the basketball. Played very well here tonight. Fogerson. He travels. He tries to put a move on Larson. I still get back to the fact that Eric Sabier has yet to score. And timeout on the court right now. And you're looking at the Garfield bench. And Al Harrison in his 7th year could be looking for his 3rd title. 5:31 to play. 4th quarter championship game. Garfield 38 and Curtis 29. We're down to the final 5:31 of this basketball season. State High School Championship, AAA Championship. You see the score there. Garfield over Curtis, 38-29. The All-State Tournament team has been announced. Spencer Bonner of Curtis, Duke Wallenborn of Mountain View, Chris Fogerson of Garfield, John Garrison of Cascade, Mike Ostlund of Curtis, Craig Murray of Garfield. Honorable mention to David Clark of Cascade. The most valuable player of the tournament, we'll tell you in just a moment. Ostlund with the basketball. Larson. Aldridge. Butler on him. Spencer Bonner underneath. Back to Larson. Jordan's done such a great job under the basket tonight for Garfield. Tipped away by Fogerson. Picked up by Larson. Open. Shot won't go. But Curtis comes up with a rebound. They have a chance again. They trail 38-29. Time running out. Under 5 minutes to play. 4:57. Bonner's shot. Good. Spencer Bonner scores, and that's 12 points in the ball game. For Bonner, only 4 here in the second half.
If Curtis wants to win, Larson's got to start hitting something.
Butler travels, takes 1 step too many. 38-31. Curtis trails by 7. And now Garfield goes back to the bench. Eichinger is coming back in the ball game. Mark Phillips comes back in the game for Garfield. They both have 4 fouls on him. Murray is still in there, along with Fogerson and Jordan. A 7-point Garfield lead with 4:40 to play. State High School Championship. Curtis has won 26 in a row. They lost their opening game. Bonner off the glass and in. Now it's a 5-point game, 38-35. Garfield in front of the Curtis Vikings. Murray slowly out of the backcourt. He takes his time. To Phillips. Phillips working against Ulrich. Phillips almost loses the ball. Murray finally comes up with it. Eichinger gets it to drop from the side of the lane. So Eichinger has 4 fouls on him, picks up his 8th point of the ball game.
Makes them a lot different team when he's in the ball game.
7-point lead now for Garfield. Bonner too hard off the glass. Ball will not drop for Eric Saviers. And Phillips brings it out of backcourt. 3:44 to go. Garfield on top. Murray in the corner. Garfield leads it by 7. Fogerson with a rattle and drop. It does, and Fogerson scores again, and that's 16 in the ball game for Fogerson.
He always seems to get the bounces. That's a soft shooter.
Aldridge travels, and that's another turnover. I think that's 10 now for Curtis in a basketball game. 42-33, 9-point Garfield lead with 3:24 to play here in the game. So the Garfield Bulldogs control of this basketball game right now. The last time they won a state championship, 1983. The coach, Al Harrison. Phillips down the lane. It's good. Wait a minute.
Oh, he called it off.
No basket.
Jordan touched it up in the cylinder.
Eichinger touches the ball in the cylinder and no basket. And that's good call. Basket interference against Eichinger. That ball would have dropped too.
Yep.
Now watch it again. The shot by Phillips. The ball's going to roll in. Eichinger goes up over the top and tips it in.
No question about it.
3:11 to play in the ball game. 42-33. Garfield over Curtis. Full court pressure by the Bulldogs of Garfield, but now they break back on it. Larson, Fogerson checking him. Doobie trying to work on Butler. Almost travels. Larson with the ball again. Cross-court pass. Spencer Bonner has the ball knocked away from him, and a foul's going to be called. I think it's on Jordan. Or is it going to be on Murray?
I think. Oh, Murray.
So Murray picks up the foul. It's his first personal foul of the ball game. Here's Spencer Bonner up at the basket. You see Murray now get in the air, coming right over the top of it. He got part of the ball and his arm. So Bonner at the line. Bonner is now 3 for 4 at the line. Only a 61% shooter. Second shot off the front of the rim and in. It's 42-35. We're down to 7 points. Don Houston across the way, directing traffic. His team lost in the championship game last year. 4 of the 5 starters are back. They know what pressure is. They played against Mercer Island last year, that championship game. Murray, the ball almost knocked away by Austin. He tips it away, picked up by Larson to Austin, and here they come. A 2-on-1 break. Drive to the hoop and score, and that's
Javier got a basket.
First 2 points to the ball game. 2:27 to go. 42-37. A 5-point lead for the Bulldogs of Garfield. Butler. 15-footer is good. And Butler now puts them up 44-37 with 2:15 to play. And for Butler, that's only 4 points in the game. 2 in the first half and 2 here in the second half. Larson has the ball tipped away by Fogerson. Trying to force a pass. Butler with Oslin over him, and Oslin's going to get a foul. And Oslin, who is just a tough player.
He really is a tough player. I tell you, Larson has got to get the ball to the ball handlers and get into the shooting position rather than handle it that much. I think Garfield plays better when they just go ahead and play their game. Like Butler took a good shot. Even though you'd think, well, maybe they should run some time down.
Butler's shot will not drop. Garfield, the rebound and in by Fogerson. 46-37. We're a 9-point lead for Garfield. Under 2 minutes to play. Osland long shot. Jordan with the rebound. Stolen away by Doobie. Larson partially blocked. Foul underneath, this time on Doobie. And Jordan will go to the line. Boy, the big guy has been a force under the basket, hasn't he?
He really is. You know, he changes the shot, and I don't think that was either shot was a very good shot that Curtis took in the last two. They were so anxious to get the ball up, and I know the time runs out, but you got to take good shots.
So Doug Doobie picks up the foul, and for Doobie, that's his second foul. And so far, it has been a very, very good basketball game. Low-scoring game at 46-37. There you see the girls' AA championship game. Hanford defeats Colville 63-49 to win the state title. Earlier here, it was Olympia defeating Mark Morris for the boys' AA championship. It's been quite a day of basketball. Earlier in AA play with the Olympia winning 47-39. Linwood defeated Nathan Hale 69-56 for fourth place. Shorewood over West Valley 68-66 in overtime. They win third. AAA boys earlier in the day. Cascade over Walla Walla 57-56. And Mountain View, that was for fourth and sixth. And Mountain View defeats Ferris 54-52 at a thriller for third and fifth. So Mountain View gets third.
So I guess you could say everything was pretty well seeded because they had some great ball games on the final day.
Great ball games the final day. Girls action as well. In girls action, AAA, Garfield wins fourth place, 58-50 over Federal Way. Franklin wins third place, 55-53 over Puyallup. Juanita wins the AAA girls title today. So it's been quite a day at basketball here at the Seattle Center Arena. Lake Stevens over Lakeside, 57-49 AA girls action.
You know what? You had to say that, Bruce. My old alma mater.
Marv Harshman's old alma mater, Lake Stevens. Girls games played at the arena. Craig Jordan at the line. 8 rebounds in the ball game. Jordan had 13 in the first half last night. Very important 13 points. Now, Curtis with time running out, 1:34 to go, and they trail it by 9. They need 2 in a hurry. Doobie, long shot, 20-footer. Will not go, and Garfield a rebound. Outlet to Butler, to Murray. Murray drives. I think he traveled.
Yes, he did. He took about 3 little short ones.
Good defensive play that time by Curtis. So Curtis running out of time, 1:24 to go.
I don't think they can score that
And they
fast.
trail it by 9. That's the way they play their offense. Osland, long shot. Oh, he hits a bomb with 1:14 to go. 46-39. Osland so far in the ball game, 10 points.
If he had 3-point range, 3-point counters, it'd be good for him.
That's Murray. Fogerson, the leading scorer for Garfield in the game. Front to Butler. Butler working on Murray. And Austin's going to get the foul call on him going over the back of Murray. We're down now to 54 seconds to play in the ball game. 46-39, 7-point lead for Garfield. A chance to look at that foul right now.
He has to go after. He's going to try to make a steal.
Right there, reaches in. Now he's going to just run for about a second longer. He reaches right around the backside over there, as you see. Well, they missed a couple of free throws that might have iced this thing. 50 seconds, still a chance. Osland, Doobie shot. And over the back of the backboard, and Garfield will put it in play. Garfield, the Metro League champions, 23-3 record. Have not lost to a team in the state of Washington.
It goes back to Curtis because the defense hit it.
That's right, defense hit it, I'm sorry. So it goes back to Curtis. Oh, those great eyes you have, Marv. Great eyes. Marv Harshman picks it all up right here.
I always told the officials that.
This time the ball off the hands of Osland and out of bounds, so Doobie was also over there. Garfield will get the basketball. Into Fogerson. He's going to be fouled. And a 2-shot intentional foul that time by Osland. And Osland may have taken an elbow in the nose as well.
I think he's out of gas, too. He's just been playing really, really hard.
And for Osland, that is his 5th personal foul, and he's out of the ball game. So Oslin, Mike Oslin, the senior, played in 2 straight championship basketball games. Fouls out of this one, goes to the sideline, and Oslin finishes with 10 points. 6 here in the second half.
2-shot foul.
A 2-shot foul. Oslin All-State, All-League 2 years. An outstanding student, outstanding basketball player. Fogerson will go to the line for the Garfield Bulldogs. 23-3, and it appears now they'll make it 24-3. They've been in the finals 25 times. The state championship 7 times. Their last title was over Walla Walla in 1983 in overtime, 44-42. Al Harrison also won a state title in 1980 against Bellarmine, so this would be his 3rd state title if he can win this one.
He's probably the closest thing to Wooden's UCLA dynasty that we've had.
38 seconds to play in a ball game. That's right. He's done very well.
Yes, he has.
We are running through the all-tournament team for you. People are beginning to throw some things out here on the court in front of us, and that's the reason for the delay. They're throwing noodles. Is that right? Noodles? As hungry as we are, we may go out there.
I'm probably going after him right now.
AAA All-Star team, Bonner, Wallenberg, Fogerson, Garrison. Mike Oslin is on the all-tournament team, and Craig Murray of Garfield. Honorable mention, David Clark of Cascade, as we've mentioned. The MVP of the tournament, Bonner, Spencer Bonner from Curtis, wins the MVP award in this State High School AAA tournament. We'll go through the AA team for you in just a moment. At the line, Chris Fogerson.
When they choose that before the final game's over, then I really think that's a little justifiable. Otherwise, when the team that wins usually gets the person that...
So congratulations to Spencer Bonner, even though his team is going to lose this championship game. They trail at 47-39. Fogerson gets 2 more. He's high scorer in the ball game so far with 20 points. He's had 16 here in the second half. And what a difference that's been.
I think, Bruce, that, my choice would be, if I'm looking at the whole thing, I probably would have picked Fogerson, because I think as he goes, his team goes.
And he has played very, very well here in the second half after a frustrating first half, even though Garfield jumped out in front 12-6. But then they ran into problems in the second quarter, and Curtis played very well. But as Garfield has done, and we said at halftime, in the second half, they seem to dominate play, and they've done that now in 3 straight games. And they lead it 48-39. They have a 9-point lead here. It's no blowaway, not even close to that, but they do dominate play.
And Al Harrison was smart enough to put those kids with the 4 fouls on the bench for a long, long time. A lot of coaches wouldn't do that.
You look at the Curtis bench right now. Don Houston has to be really disappointed because he's 99-9 over 4 years coming into this game. He was 26-1. They lost their opening game to Jefferson High School, and then they won 26 in a row. They lost to Mercer Island 47-28 in the title game last year. His 8th year is coaching there. 144-43 is his record. They're a good shooting team. Disappointed. He's got a lot of reserves in there right now.
5 new players.
We'll
give them all a chance.
Give everybody a chance. Down low, hook shot will not go, and Butler of Garfield comes up with a basketball. Lead pass to Murray. His shot is up and good, and a foul's going to be called against Curtis. And a foul is against David Zerbla. David Zerbla picks up the foul. New kids in the ball game right now, and he's got a lot of them in there. Joel Emery is there. Jeff Johnson is there. And they get a chance to play some of their reserves right now, which is great. I think in a situation like this where it's 51-39 and the ball game is basically over. Shot good.
And Zerflu got a chance to get his name in the stats.
Butler will dribble it out, throws the ball in the air, it's all over, and Garfield wins the State Boys AAA championship by a score of 51-41 over Curtis. As you can imagine, and as you see, a very excited Garfield basketball team. They are 24-0 in the state of Washington. Their only losses to Santa Monica, to Wilson Heights in that Las Vegas tournament. They went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. They lost to the #1 team in the country in Flint Hill there by only 6 points, and they win the state high school championship here.
And I'd have to say, Bruce, they really have demonstrated they are the best team, at least the best team I've seen this year in high school play.
You have to be impressed not only with Fogerson and the way he took charge in the second half. That's Fogerson on your screen.
With
John Houston there. You see some of the players there. Fogerson being hugged by some kids who he knows very well, played against. An emotional moment for Spencer Bonner and for Mike Oslin. A couple of seniors, 4 seniors started for the Curtis Vikings in the ball game, and they played very well, but it was just Garfield's night. The Bulldogs just played. There's Spencer, all right, Ishmael Butler right there. Some of those reserves getting excited. You see the fans that present the trophy here in just a moment. A very, very excited Garfield basketball team. I see Rick Meter across the way right now, and he's with a couple of the Garfield Bulldogs. Rick?
Thank you, Bruce. There it is right there, they said, as the state championship trophy was wheeled in front of them. Chris Fogerson and Craig Murray, the starting guards for Garfield. I guess long about the middle of the third quarter, you decided you wanted to get this one and went out and got it.
Yeah, Al told us that they were pretty slow, and if you get a chance to take them one-on-one, just take it. So everybody, just work the ball to the top, and when you got a man isolated, we just took it to the hole, and things worked out.
Tough ball game, though. You got on top of them early, and Curtis came back. It was a 2-point game at halftime, and then I guess you just bear down and go get it, huh?
Yeah, man, I've been waiting 3 years for it. I want to go let it get out of my hands.
All right, Chris Fogerson, now Craig Murray, the other starting senior. They've both been here 3 times and been disappointed a couple of times. We talked about it the other day. You've lost the opening game, but this time none of that, huh?
Hey, we made a deal with ourselves that we were going to come out and get this championship, and everybody dug down, and it was a great win. They're a good team, and they put up a good battle. It's a tough win.
A tough season. Your goal after those early tournaments was to come back and not lose a game in the state, and I guess you got all of that too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Going down to those tournaments really helped us, We played against the #1 team in the nation in front of crowds like this, so when we came down here, we were kind of used to it.
Was there a lot of pressure on this team, though, and a lot of expectations on the Garfield team? It's been here a number of times, and you had to come through for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of pressure, starting from last season because they knew we had everybody coming back, and so they expected us to win the title this year, and there's a lot of pressure the whole way through.
All the pressure's off now. I guess you can enjoy this one, huh?
Oh, yeah, we're #1.
All right, Craig Murray, thank you. Craig Murray and Chris Fogerson, the starting guards for Garfield. Chris, back to you.
Big night for the Garfield Bulldogs. Leading scorer in the ball game, Fogerson with 20 and Murray with 9. And also Phillips with 4 as we run through. Jefferson came through. I'll tell you, Kelly Jefferson had 6 free throws in the ball game, 6 very important free throws, as Garfield goes on to win by a score of 51-41. And here's Rick Meter with the winning coach.
Al Hairston, who's been here before a number of times, but I guess it's just as exciting every time and always pretty exciting to win a championship, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is what it's all about. We started in early March, in November, trying to get ready for this. And, it just feels great to finally get it over with.
Early in the season, you took this team on the road, took this into some national tournaments and got some exposure for some of the kids, and also went up against some real tough teams. Do you think that benefited you all the way along the line, and maybe especially this week?
Oh, yeah. That was the whole purpose of that trip, was to get ready for this. And we played in similar situations in those tournaments with this kind of crowd. So I really think it paid off as far as, preconditioning our kids' heads to handle this kind of pressure.
Chris Fogerson certainly was a key, really seemed to get it going in the third quarter, but also you had some guys come off the bench. Kelly and Ishmael really made a difference tonight.
Yeah, we had a couple kids get hurt early in the season, and we had to use some kids off the bench, and they got valuable playing experience, and, it paid off for us, at this time.
All right, congratulations, Al, and I guess we'll see you next year.
I like to congratulate Curtis also. They're a hard-nosed, tough-working basketball team, and we really had to earn this one.
All right, thank you, Al Hairston, coach of the championship team, the Garfield Bulldogs. Let me add my congratulations to both teams, Garfield and Curtis. They put on quite a show here at the Coliseum tonight. Bruce, back to you.
Rick, thank you very much. Garfield Bulldogs defeat Curtis 51-41 to win the State High School AAA Boys Championship. We'll have a final comment right after this.
Rainier Bank. No one knows you, works for you, comes through for you like a Rainier banker. By the Dairy Farmers of Washington. Beat
Curtis 51-41 to win the State High School AAA Boys Championship tonight. Garfield breaking away in the second half. Fogerson was the one who led the charge, finished with 20 points in the ball game. Marv, did they do what you expected in that second half?
Well, I thought Curtis got out of their game plan a little bit. Probably had to when they got 5 down. Then that's not their game. And I think they had enough time. But, you know, it's always easy to second guess. It was a good ball game, a good high school ball game, and I think the best team won.
Leading scorers in a ball game for Curtis. Bonner had 16. He's the MVP of the tournament. And Oslin finishes with 10. Larson with 9. Sabier with 2. Aldridge with 2. And Doobie did not score in a ball game. A lot of fouls early in the ball game, and it hurt both teams along the way.
Right.
Doobie went to the sideline, and so did Phillips go to the sideline, Eichinger as well. But it's been quite a basketball game, and it's been quite an evening with Olympia winning and now Garfield winning the state title. A lot of fun high school basketball. There is nothing like the excitement of a game like this. So we want to thank Rick Meter and also Marv Harshman. Thanks a million for being with us tonight. Okay, the executive producer of the State High School Basketball Championships is Michael Campbell. Coordinating producer Renee Rothram. Tonight's games were produced and directed by James Burns. Associate Director Dave Snuckle. Technical Director Scott Jensen.
Big lead. Chris Fogerson picked up a loose ball, drove, and hit the shot. 12-4 Garfield at that point. But Curtis came back with a big second quarter. Spencer Bontner came up with a steal and went down and hit the shot at the other end. That put the Vikings ahead by 4, but Garfield led 20-18 at the half. Garfield opened up big lead in the third quarter. Chris Fogerson with 16 points in the second half. Nice penetration there. Garfield led 32-27 after 3. In the fourth quarter, the Bulldogs exploded. Again, Fogerson the leader, 20 points in the game, a 9-point advantage after this bucket, and Garfield won by 10.
Oh, man, it's wonderful. I never had no feeling like this before. It means you're the best in the whole state.
Earlier, defending boys AA champion Mark Morris was back to defend its crown in the title game, but they ran into a charged-up squad from Olympia. Olympia jumped to a 12-point lead at halftime, but saw Mark Morris pull within 2 when Dave Walling hit this jumper. That made it 32-30 Olympia. The teams traded baskets until John Kiley stripped the ball, scored to open a 6-point margin for the Bears. Mark Morris couldn't rally from that deficit, and Olympia won the state boys AA crown 47-39.
The Bulldogs beat Curtis for the title last weekend. This is nothing new for Garfield. It's the 8th time the school has won that title, the 3rd time for Coach Al Hairston. A great feeling for the players to be number 1 and, most of all, to celebrate in front of the whole darn school.
When we first won it, you know, after the buzzer went off, it really didn't hit me there, you know. It was like I was in a daze, you know. But, you know, a few days after I done thought about it and everything, it's a great feeling, you know, to be number 1 in the state.
Garfield, the AAA champion.
Today was a day to celebrate. Watch. The state AAA champions gave their fans plenty to shout about as they put on a show with an awesome display of dunks. Not only did the boys team bring home a state championship, so did the chess team, and the girls basketball team placed 4th in the state as well. So it was a big, big day at Garfield.